Cliff, in this one we've got two teams, very comparable teams, I think, very similar, and almost identical records. Melrose 2-4-1. Reading is 2-5 and 3-5 overall. Two teams, Reading's offense, I think, against Reading's Melrose's defense in this one.
Well, Melrose we should recall had a 0-0 tie with Woburn, so that is their last outing coming into this game. And you're right, it'll be their defense against our offense.
And this one, a line drive kick, skips through Steve Graham's hands, picked up by Schwam, very deep in his own end, knifing his way right up the middle, and a pretty nice little return from Mark Schwam. Tough kick to handle, and it got through Graham, and Schwam recovered it, picked it up, and got about 12 yards on the return, and the Rockets will start off here from their own 22-yard line, 1st and 10, in the opening drive of the game here.
Anthony Dempolo on the tackle for Melrose that time, coming down the field, making the tackle in the center of the field.
David Johnson is the Rockets quarterback. Now Reading shifts into the wishbone. Off the left side, that's Paul Crispo right up the middle. And he is taken down, but not before. He had gained about 8 yards, and looks like a repeat of last week on the first play from scrimmage here. Paul Crispo with some good tough running inside and got about 8 yards on that carry.
I'm sure the Reading offense wants to get off the ball as quickly as they can early on in the game. They want to establish that running game, and by picking up 8 yards, they've done nothing but solidify their running offense.
It will be 2nd down and call it a short 2 yards. Off the left side, this is Crispo once again, still on his feet, trying to get around that left end. Crispo cuts it back inside, and he is finally taken down at about the Melrose 35-yard line. Paul Crispo from his own 30 with about a 35-yard run, Cliff. And Crispo, the story so far early in this one, just a continuation of what he's done the last 3 or 4 weeks for the Rockets.
Seemed as though the Melrose defense, the linebackers especially, might have been playing up pretty close to the line of scrimmage. Therefore, when he broke through that first wave, he found himself with about 8 or 9 yards facing him in the face. He came to the outside and was able to pick up substantial yardage.
1st and 10 for Reading at the Melrose 35-yard line. Off the right side, that is Scott Allen driving his way forward, and he gains about 5 yards. It will be 2nd and 5 for the Rockets, and they are on the go very early in this one. And when you get the ground game going, we've been mentioning it several times in the past few weeks, Cliff. You get the running game going. The Reading passing game has not been really have to been called upon lately, but it can open up some things through the air for the Rockets if they can get the ground game established. It is Allen once again driving forward, and he is very close to another Reading 1st down.
It's interesting, Reading has established on the first several offensive plays the ability to break through the line of scrimmage, immediately move to the outside and pick up yardage. Now what they've done is they've gone back in towards the middle, and now I think what they're trying to do is by using the fullback, trying to bring the Melrose defense in on the perimeters, therefore perhaps opening up the sweeps.
It is 3rd down and 1. The left side, that's Paul Crispo breaking his way through, driving, and he has more than enough for a Reading 1st down. Got about 6 yards on that carry. Reading is just, the Reading offensive line is just blowing some big holes open for those running backs.
Defensive back for Melrose, Chad McGuire, number 11, came up and met Crispo head on. But I'll tell you something, that McGuire came out at the bottom of that match.
1st and 10 for the Rockets at the Red Raider 20-yard line. Out of the wishbone. Off the left-right side, that's John Paglia, and he gains about 3. Reading's getting a good surge off that offensive line, though. They are just pushing that Melrose defensive line back. And this is a pretty tough Melrose defense. They've given up 66 points. Excuse me, they've only given up 102 points. They've scored 66 coming into this game. Second down and call it 7. That's Crispo coming straight up the middle. stumbles his way forward, and he has about 4 or 5 yards.
Well, John, we're going to run that play until they stop it, and so far they've shown no ability, apparently, to be able to stop that play. The defense, in fact, has packed in. They're very close to the line of scrimmage, and if the next time we line up offensively, take a look at their defensive ends and their outside linebackers. Everybody is pulled in real tight. It wouldn't surprise me at all if maybe Reading doesn't go to some sort of a wide play.
3rd and 2. It is Crispo again off the left side, and he is taken down. He's very close to a Reading first down.
Well, they were obviously playing for the first down at that point. Now he's going to give them 4 more downs. And then they can experiment if they want to. The ground game has been very, very successful now for the last 2.5 games. They're doing a super job off that offensive line.
It was a Reading first down. 1st and goal from about the Melrose 7-yard line. Off the right side, Scott Allen. He is down close to that goal line. The goal lines are rather faint. Can't see them too well. And we're waiting for a signal from the official once he gets down around the goal line.
I think we ought to.
It was down around the 3. Scott Allen was stopped. 2nd and goal.
The field is in surprisingly good shape, John, compared to what we saw it last Saturday.
Second and goal from the Melrose 3-yard line. Off the left side, Paul Crispo very close.
Saw a flag out here on the from the near side official.
Let's see what the call is.
Offside Reading.
And it was against Reading. Now this is where Reading, after this terrific drive clip, they have just pushed the ball down the field. They have to get something out of this. I think it would obviously work in Melrose's favor if they're able to stop the Rockets here cold, considering how the Rockets have very easily moved the ball upfield. Psychologically, I think Reading has got to score some points here.
Oh, that call was changed now. It's gone the other way, so it's offense against offside against the defense, which makes a little bit more sense. I would have thought that the call against Reading, if in fact it was a Reading, would have been a motion, a procedure call of some sort. But the official has made the correction, and it is now Reading's ball, even closer to the goal line.
And it was against Melrose. 2nd down and 2. It is Crispo. Touchdown Reading, Paul Crispo with the 2-yard touchdown run. And Reading has come out and just blown Melrose away here very early, Cliff. They are taking that tough Melrose defense and they're shoving them backwards. They just scored more points than Woburn was able to score in the whole game in the first 5 minutes of this one with 5:02 left. Paul Crispo from 2 yards out gives the Rockets a 6-0 lead, and it will be Tim Griesmer with the conversion attempt here.
Joe Giordano now in playing center. He's a long snapper on the special team.
The snap, the kick is up, and it is good. Griesmer drills it home. And Reading, with 5 minutes and 2 seconds left to go here in the first quarter, lead Melrose 7-0. And a terrific drive starting at their own, I believe, their 22-yard line. And with relative ease, Cliff moved it the length of the field and popped in the 6 points with Crispo going over from the 2.
Well, they control the ball, John, for 4 minutes and 58 seconds. That's a substantial drive under any criteria at all. They control the football, and in many, many cases, the best defense is a good offense, and they proved that. Obviously, it would have been disastrous had they come away with no points, but Reading sucked it in. They played real tough in offense. They got the benefit of a call down and close, an offside call against the defense. But at that point, they were already inside the 10-yard line anyway, so I don't know that was really of any advantage to Reading. They moved the ball in, and if we stop and consider all the plays were run, we saw a wide variety of ball carriers. Yes, Crispo did a good job. He carried the ball several times in the drive, did score the touchdown, but I think we saw 5 different ball carriers in that series. That's another positive aspect, because as the game goes along, you want everybody warm and ready and into the flow of things, and I think they've done that.
It will be Tim Griesmer kicking it off. The deep man, number 7, is Christopher Pierce, as Griesmer drills it down, and it will be taken by one of the up men, number 81, and he is taken down under a whole slew of Rocket tacklers.
That was Derek Magicamo was the ball carrier on that return.
And 3 or 4 Rockets were right there. Kind of fired up right now, Reading. I think it's important that the defense establish something as the offense has in the opening series. Let's see if the defense can do the same thing and just keep Melrose pinned back fairly deep in their own zone. The Red Raiders will start it out from their own 18-yard line. The quarterback is number 9, Rich Green. James Olson, number 34 in the backfield, along with Vinny Zingarello. And the give and a fumble on the play, and who has got it? It's still loose.
I think it's red ball.
And Reading has got it.
I see Steve Graham with the ball in his hands. Now, whether or not he was the guy who got the ball or not, that's immaterial. It's Reading's ball. That hit was done by Jeff Durandi, who we should note right off the bat is back after 4 weeks on the injured list. In his first defensive contact is involved in a play that results in a fumble, Reading taking the ball over again.
It is Reading ball at the Melrose 20-yard line.
Took 2 seconds for them to get the ball back, John.
The pitch wide around that right side, Paul Crispo, and he is taken down. A fine defensive play over there.
Got a flag up in the air. It might be a late hit, John.
Sal Soretto, number 6, with the hit. And Carl McFadden signaling the call will go against Melrose.
89, Glenn Kelly was over there, and I'm not sure, but he may have come in a little late on that play. That'd be a spot foul. It's an infraction that's marked off from the point of infraction. So they get an additional benefit. They get the yardage they picked up plus the foul. It's a dead ball foul. It's a personal foul.
Again, Melrose penalized half the distance of the goal down to the 9-yard line. It'll be first and goal to go for Reading from the Melrose 9.
First and goal for the Rockets at the Melrose 9-yard line. They lead 7-0 with 4 minutes and 37 seconds left to go in the first quarter. And they're on the doorstep once again. Off the right side, that's Scott Allen. He is tripped up. Number 57 is Donald Gautreau. Give Allen about 2 yards on that carry. Second and goal from about the Red Raider 7-yard line. And Melrose had the ball for about 8 or 10 seconds so far here in the first quarter. The pitch around the left side. Crispo has a man out in front of him, cuts it inside, and he is in for a touchdown. And Crispo is shaken up a little bit on the play, but he's up, and he seems to be okay, holding his back. But Paul Crispo had a man out in front of him who didn't really get the hit on the Melrose defender like he wanted to, so Paul cut it back inside and drove his way towards that goal line and just snuck in. And it will be Tim Griesmer looking for his second conversion. The snap, the kick is up, and it is good. Number 50 is Robert Delir. Melrose almost got through to block that, but Griesmer was able to drill it home. Kind of a low kick, but it found the range. And Reading very quickly here, Cliff, and in very impressive manner, they're up 14-0.
Well, we've got 3:51 left on the clock, and then we're still in the first quarter. The score is 14-0. I don't know what else Reading could do to get themselves any more pumped up than what they appear to be already. That turnover, certainly, if they needed a kick in the rear end to help them get going a little bit, that certainly added the impetus. And the offense continues to roll up yardage. A great offensive surge from the line. Very quickly, John, one of those points in the game that people have a tendency to overlook, the extra point attempt. Joe Giordano, we said a little earlier, he comes in and he snaps the ball. He's the long snapper on those special team situations. Johnson receives the ball, puts it down, and then Griesmer, of course, made a great kick now, and that combination has been working very, very well over the last several games, a point that we shouldn't overlook.
And it will be Tim Griesmer kicking off to Christopher Pierce, number 7 in the middle and deep. Friesmer's kick is taken by Brian Cravo, number 40, coming straight up the middle, and he is taken down at about his own 40-yard line, and it will be 1st and 10 for Melrose. The ball is spotted at about the 40-yard line.
DeArmond made the initial hit, 62 for Reading, David DeArmond. Scott Allen and then Derek Latham finished off the play on that return.
The Reading defense has only been out there for one play so far, and they forced a fumble. Melrose running out of the eye. To give straight up the middle, and that is number 33, Vinny Zingarello. And he pushed his way forward for about 6 yards.
Scott Wade, 52, was the tackler on that play. Defensively, Durandi coming back now gives the Reading coaching staff a little flexibility. One of the things they indicated was they want to try to rotate people in and out, and I know that they want to try to give Scott Allen an opportunity to rest a little bit. And I think Nando Zucchi and Jeff have added some flexibility.
Now coming straight up the middle, Vinny Zingarello, and he is taken down, but not before he has brought it all the way down to the Rocket 35-yard line.
Defensive back Mike Sewell, number 22, Mike Sewell, in on the tackle.
It's 1st and 10 for the Red Raiders at the Reading 34-yard line. Number 27 is Brian Bemitz, split out wide to the right. Out of the eye. Green to give up the middle. And that is James Olson. And he's not going too far. Jimmy Olson with the carry.
Dillon in on the tackle. Rich Green, the quarterback for Melrose, we ought to point out and emphasize, is a sophomore. Very, very highly rated young prospect coming up through the Middlesex League, through the Melrose program.
And he's thrown for over 800 yards this year. He's having a fine season. Green calling out the signals. Dropping back. The big rush is on. Gets away. Throws it, and it is incomplete.
Joe Venuti was putting pressure on the quarterback, and in fact did get to the quarterback just as he released the ball.
It's going to be 3rd down and about 9 yards to go for Melrose.
So far, Melrose has shown an ability to run the ball a little bit more than I thought they'd be able to be honest with you, John.
We mentioned earlier Melrose has had some trouble scoring. They've only got 66 points total on the year. They've got a pretty stingy defense, though, and that's what's kept them in several ball games. Green looking over the middle. The pass is complete, and it is taken. Number 6 is Sal Soretto. And that will be enough for a 1st down for Melrose at the Reading 20-yard line.
Of course, Melrose's offense, the philosophy is such that they want to run the ball to establish the running game, and then what they do is use the benefit of play-action passes in order to free up the receivers and give the quarterback some time to throw the ball.
1st and 10 at the Reading 20. Off the right side, James Olson, and he is taken down. Steve Graham there along with Jeff Durandi.
James Olson, the ball carrier, hit by number 63, Jeff Durandi.
Durandi, a very enthusiastic defensive and offensive player, tries to get the guys fired up out there, and it's good to have him back.
Well, we know he's been hoping for the last couple of weeks that he would heal a little faster than perhaps he wasn't healing as fast as he hoped, but persevered, and here he is back in the lineup.
2nd down and 8. 2-yard gain for Olson on that last carry. Now Olson in motion, sprinting out to the left, and they give up the middle, Zingarello.
Dillon and Stephen Graham in on the play.
Melrose, the ball carrier, stopped by Steve Graham. after a gain of about
Zingarello
3 yards.
gained about 3 on that carry. It will be 3rd down and 5. The clock ticking down towards 30 seconds left to go in the first quarter. The Rockets lead Melrose 14-0. 2 touchdown runs by Paul Crispo, 1 of 2 yards and 1 of 8. And Tim Griesmer converted both point after touchdown attempts. 3rd and 5. Green rolling out to the right, looking that way. The pass is intercepted by Durandi, and he is taken down at about his own 12-yard line. Brian Crovo laid a pretty good hit on Durandi after he pulled that one in. Jeff bobbled it for a moment, but he was in the right place at the right time, and he was able to control it, and Reading will start out at their own 13-yard line, we'll call it, with 9 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Is that an impact play? It causes a fumble and then intercepts the pass in the first quarter he's back?
Making his presence felt is Jeff Durandi. And the give off the left side, that is Crispo, and he gains about 3 yards. He is brought down. Number 76, Eric Cheney, in on the hit for the Red Raiders. And according to the scoreboard clock, that is the end of the first quarter. And it is the end of the first quarter. And that, by far, Cliff, the best quarter of football we have seen on any of our cable casts of any Rocket football games. The best quarter we have been around for so far this year for the Reading Rockets.
Well, they came out performing on all cylinders, John. It's apparent that they've made up their mind a couple of weeks ago that the way to get the thing turned around was to come out and reestablish its ability to run the football. I'm sure the assumption was once the ground game was reestablished, then they'd find that the passing game would start to open up again. And they want to take a little bit of pressure off the quarterback and not put him in a situation of having to throw the ball when everybody in the ballpark knows he has to throw the ball. They have been successful reestablishing that ground game, and in fact now find that they don't have to go to the pass quite as often. And the advantage of that is that now they can throw the ball when they want to throw the ball, which takes a little pressure off of the offense. And I think that that's been very, very helpful. And I think that we shouldn't assume that we're not going to see any more passes. It's still early in the ball game. Here we are at the end of the first quarter. And I am sure that coaching staff is tickled pink that they're up 14-0.
At their own 17-yard line.
2nd down and 7 for the Rockets. The ball is out to their own 17-yard line. Off the right side, that looked like Scott Allen, and he gains about 3 more yards.
Tackled by number 57.
It will be 3rd down and 4 for the Rockets.
Gain of 4 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 3. The ball is at the 20-yard line.
The ball spotted just about at the Red Raider 20. 3rd and 4. Reading out of the wishbone once again. David Johnson calling out the signals. Off the right side, running hard, that's John Pagliar, and a terrific defensive play by Sal Soretto, number 6, as he moved up and cut the legs out from under Pagliar. It looked like John had some room. If he got around Soretto, he had lots of daylight.
Well, he's running for the first down marker, and he made his cut to the outside, and I think in doing that, it just gave that defender the opportunity to get a little bit better angle on the play, but he did make the first down. Could have been, from here it looked like it could have been a little bit more successful, but gee whiz, we can't argue with success of getting the first down.
Reading retains possession. And the give to Crispo, trying to get around the right side and still on his feet, and finally he is pushed out of bounds. But a good gain. Number 57, Donald Gautreau, was able to push Crispo out. That was Mark Schwalm, not Crispo.
Gain of about 8 yards on the play.
And a good 8-yard run by Mark. And as you mentioned earlier,
2nd down and
several
2 yards to go for a first
running backs are getting their hands on the ball, and they've all been pretty successful so far.
Well, all the halfbacks have carried the ball, the fullbacks carry the ball, so I guess there's been at least 5 or 6 ball carriers so far in the game.
2nd down and 2. Johnson off the left side, that is Crispo. Bounced off a couple of plays, but he is stopped. He's going to be close to another running first down. I have a feeling he's a little bit shy.
I agree with you, John. Probably a couple lengths maybe 2 lengths of a football.
And 1 yard to go.
Looks like they may be dispatching the head linesman out there to bring the chain in, perhaps measure just to be sure. It's a critical third down play, and I'm sure the coaching staff for Reading wants to know exactly how far they have to go.
And they are bringing out the chains. We have 8 minutes and 39 seconds left to go in the second quarter. And Reading with a 14-0 lead. And they have the football. And it looks like Reading,
Closer than I thought. Closer than I thought.
We called it, though. We were right for a change. Reading is shy, and we're talking about an inch and a half, it looked like.
That's why they have the change, John. If they had to use my eye, boy, we'd have some problems.
It is third down, and very short for the Rockets. Off the right side, it looked like Schwalm, I believe.
Looked to me as though he got to the yard marker and then was pushed backwards, so my guess would be he made the first down.
He has got it. Where the official was marking the ball, Reading has got the first down.
I think we ought to give some credit to that offensive front for Reading. We've got Wade at the center spot. We've got Warren and DeAmond. Dillon are playing guard. We'll continue after this play, John.
Johnson rolling, looking, long over the middle. McFadden out there, and Carl pulls it in. Carl McFadden at the Melrose 35-yard line. They had good coverage on McFadden. He just concentrated, kept his eye on the ball, and went up and wanted it a little bit more, I think, than the Melrose defender.
He got very, very good position. You're right. As the receiver running downfield, he's looking back over his shoulder to see where the ball was in the actual trajectory, where the ball was going to come down. And the defender had to be worried, one, about the ball, and two, about where McFadden was. And I think in having to split his concentration, McFadden just outmuscled him for the ball.
A 30-yard completion from Johnson to Carl McFadden. Now the pitch around the right side, Paul Crispo, and he is hemmed in and taken down. And once again, it is Sal Soretto. And he has been in on, it seems like, every hit for the Red Raiders so far in this one, Cliff.
Don Cotreau, number 57, the junior linebacker, also went in the play.
And we've been calling those two numbers a lot early in this one.
Got Pontone and L at tackles, to continue my thought, and the ends of McFadden and also Griezmer, doing a good job up front blocking.
Now the give off the right side, it's Scott Allen, and he is taken down. Cerrito once again taking Allen down after about a 4-yard gain. 4 yards a carry, Cliff. That's all you're asking for every time you run with the football, and Reading has given them that plus some most of the time.
Well, if you do that twice, that's going to give you a third down and 2 to go, so that wouldn't be a bad situation to be in. They're doing a real good job running the ball, John.
Straight up the middle, it's Scott Allen with lots of room, still on his feet, bouncing off people, and he is taken down finally at about the 16-yard line. That, Cliff, was a terrific run by somebody you are quite familiar with. Straight up the middle, and he bounced off about 3 or 4 different Red Raiders and almost broke it all the way.
You know, the interesting thing, John, in that play was he wasn't touched until he was to where the linebacker should have been. So that just goes to prove the degree of blocking we're getting from the line. Super job.
First and 10 for the Rockets at the Melrose 16. Crispo around the left side, cuts it inside. There's a flag down. Paul's still on his feet. And he is finally gang tackled at about the, call it the 8-yard line. There is a flag down, and you have to think it's going to be against the offense here.
It's in that area where you start to think about clip. Kind of outside, near the outside the end of the tackle.
And that is what the call is against Reading, a clip.
In their enthusiasm, they get out there and try to help and block. What happens is, as Crispo or the ball carrier starts to sprint towards the outside, the defenders then turn their back towards the center of the field trying to get out there and block. And sometimes what happens is a lineman or an offensive back will fall down on the heels of the defender, that constitutes a clip.
Move the ball back to the 31-yard line.
It's also a good way of somebody getting hurt.
And about 25 yards to go for a first
The ball is pushed back all the way to the Melrose 30-yard line. First down and 25 for the Rockets. Johnson back, rolling to the right, looking the pass, and it's behind Scott Allen. There was good pressure. Number 83 for Melrose, Charles McDonald, was putting pressure on Johnson, had to throw it off his back foot, and really did not get too much on
There was
that
good
one.
double coverage. I think that was the good decision to throw the ball behind the receiver and get it out of play. Stops the clock, gives him another shot at it. He got second down on about 25 yards to go.
5 minutes and 59 seconds left to go, according to the scoreboard clock, which is very close to official time, but
Although we know it is unofficial. Thanks, John.
which you have,
Jeff Nelson will appreciate that.
who is running the scoreboard clock, Jeff Nelson. Johnson dropping straight back over the middle. It is complete. Tim Griesmer leaps a player, and he is tripped up by Scarito. Fortunately for Melrose. Nice little hurdle there by Tim Griesmer. Got over the man in the middle. That's that play we've seen a lot in the last couple of years. They threw it to Joe Gilligan last Thanksgiving especially. They hit him with 6 or 7 passes that way. And even last week they tried it a couple of times against Burlington.
Good decision downfield that time by Carl McFadden. What happens is the backs out of the backfield as well as the offside end, in this case McFadden, go downfield, and they kind of turn around and form a blocking wall along the sideline so that in theory, Griezmann gets the ball across the center and runs to the sideline, then down the sideline. And he's got blockers in front of him. Well, at that point, McFadden was the last man. There was a Melrose man trying to get involved in a tackle. McFadden could have hit him. If he had at that time, it would have been a clip. He made a very good decision of not hitting the man.
And it was an 11-yard gain, and it will be 3rd and 14 for the Rockets. They have called timeout. Gary Nyan talking things over with his club. Very inspired Reading Rocket football team, though, in the early going in this one, Cliff. I have not seen the determination and the fire in this team in the previous 3 or 4 games we've covered that we're seeing out here today.
They're playing real strong defense. They're playing very aggressively on offense. The trick is good teams, when they get their opponent down, you have to go for the throat. A 14-0 lead, 14 points can be, you can lose 14 points very quickly.
Reading is ready. McFadden split out wide to the right. Allen in motion. Johnson dropping straight back. Looking, the pass, and it is over the outstretched fingertips, and he was looking for Crispo.
Tim Keller back there in coverage, and that ball went right through his hands.
It appeared as if he was on the verge of pulling it in. I think he was a little bit surprised that he didn't. And it was out of Crispo's reach also. And it will be 4th down for the Rockets. And let's see what they want to do here. There is a breeze blowing. It appears to be going
They're going
sideline to sideline.
Yep.
And Reading will go for it.
That's unusual, that wind blowing across the field.
4th and 14, Allen in motion. Johnson dropping straight back. Looking. Throws it into the end zone, and it is knocked down and almost pulled in by McFadden. There were about 4 Melrose players down there. They didn't really play it as they should have. They should have just knocked the ball down. It appeared as if they went for the interception. It got bobbled for a moment, and Kyle kind of dove from the back and almost pulled it in. Would have been a circus catch. Another good drive for the Rockets, Cliff. That clipping penalty did a number on them there. They would have been 1st and goal, I believe, from inside the 10-yard line, around the 8-yard line after a run by Crispo. But on that play, Reading called for the clip. They still look good, though. They still are moving the ball with relative ease. And let's see what the Rocket defense can come up with here. They've forced 2 turnovers so far. Green dropping back, looking over the middle, throwing deep, and Pierce was out there. McFadden had pretty good coverage on him. Christopher Pierce, just a little guy. He's a junior, 5 feet 4 inches tall and 130 pounds according to our scorecard. But he obviously can motor, and he was just going deep on that one.
With the obvious difference in height between McFadden and Pierce, it's a situation there where the quarterback has got to throw the ball considerably further than McFadden in order to get it over his reach, so that he had good coverage even though the man had beaten him that time.
Green passes it to the right. That's Pierce. And he moves forward for about 7 yards.
Durandi and
Quick out
McFadden.
pass.
Durandi McFadden in on the tackle.
That's a nice little play for Melrose. The quick pass out to the right side. Pierce just standing out there as he was split out wide. Takes it, and he gained about 6, 7 yards on the play. Now Pierce comes out.
Scott Allen, 44, is at the linebacker spot in place of Griezmer. I think, again, we said early in the game, they want to give people a chance to catch their breath a little bit, and that's what they're doing in this case.
Melrose out of the eye. 3rd down and 3. Green to give straight up the middle, and that, I believe, is Olsen. And he is close to a 1st down, and it will depend on the spot. No, that was Grovo with that carry, Brian Grovo. And they're going to measure this one, and I don't even want to guess on this one, Cliff. This one's going to be very close.
I was asking a friend of mine who was standing beside me whether he thought they had the 1st down. And you and I were off by quite a bit the first time. I figured we'd ask Jesse Wade, and Jesse didn't want to venture a guess.
And it will be 4th. Okay, they've got it. They have got the 1st down. I thought they were going to be short for a moment there.
There's the signal. There was a little bit of a delay there. I think when they picked the chain up, I think it moved the ball, and they were trying to put the ball back where it belonged, and the official didn't give the signal right off the bat.
It is 1st and 10 for the Red Raiders of Melrose. They're at their own 31-yard line. Green to give off the left side. That's Grovo, and he is piled on after about a 2-yard gain. Dillon was there, along with Scott Allen.
Scott Wade is at the bottom of that pile.
Peter L. there also. The clock is ticking. We're getting very close to 4 minutes left to go in the 1st half. We're Reading with a 14-0 lead. 2 touchdown runs by Paul Crispo. Now Pierce split out wide to the right. Green dropping back, looking, throwing long to the left. The man is there, and fortunately for the Rockets, that pass not on the money as Sewell fell down, and the man out there was number 6, Sal Cerrito. And it was just thrown to the outside. If it had been thrown to the inside, we're looking at 6 points for Melrose.
Well, I think Michael, on his way down that time, was looking to dig a hole for himself, and he looked up and saw that the pass was incomplete. He felt a lot better. Just one of those situations where he's trying to, again, keep track of the receiver and look for the ball at the same time, and he lost his footing. Good break for the Rockets.
3rd down and 8. Green dropping back, looking, and
tried a screen pass that time, and 57 Cotreau was over here to be a one-man blocking wall for the back out of the backfield, and Scott Allen sniffed the thing out here.
And he had to loft it over Allen, and if he hadn't, I think we're looking at a wide open field for Scott.
I'd say, John, I could have scored on that one. You know?
I'm not so sure.
Well, I take that back.
Back in your time, maybe.
Long time ago.
Your time has come and gone, though.
Long time. Oh, the Redding's going to take over again.
Green is punting it. Tremendously high kick, not too long, and Schwalm in traffic pulls it in. Green got a lot of lift on that one, did not send it too deep. But Schwalm able to pull it in with a whole batch of white shirts around him. It will be 1st and 10 for the Rockets. Good field position at their own 45-yard line. They've had the ball 3 times, scored twice, and the other time a clipping penalty pushed them away from the Melrose goal line, and they were stopped on downs at about the Red Raider 25. Around the left side, Paul Crispo, and he looked like his feet just went out from under him. I don't think he was hit.
Right in the center of the field, we said a little early, I think the field's in pretty decent shape considering the usage you got last week and the rain and the torrential downpour. But he went to make a cut, and in planting his foot, I think the turf did give away a little bit. It's in the center of the field between the hash marks. And if there's one area of the field that may be worn a little bit, it is near the center of the field.
It will be 2nd down and 10. Call it 11. Crispo lost a yard on that carry. Johnson rolling out to the right, looking that way, lofts it up, and it is complete to Scott Allen. And the man from Melrose just mistimed his leap. That was a perfectly thrown pass by Dave Johnson to Scott Allen. And I'm not sure who it was back there. It was either Gautreau or Cerrito.
I think it may have been Gautreau. He's the linebacker there. I think it might have been him, because he was coming down after jumping in the air as the ball went over his hand.
Just mistimed his leap. And unfortunately for Melrose, and fortunately for the Rockets, and it is going to be measured now. And let's see if the Rockets have got it. I think they're going to come up a bit shy here. And I am incorrect.
I saw it all the way, John. I just didn't say it.
You know better.
I just didn't say it.
To even attempt to guess.
Well, you know what it is, John? You got these players along the sideline, and you kind of lose your perspective a little bit.
Okay.
Would you believe? No.
That was barely enough for a Reading first down. The ball is at the Red Raider 44-yard line. Out of the wishbone, they give to Crispo off the right side, and that's Mark Schwalm, excuse me. Schwalm, number 33, Paul Crispo, number 23. And that was Mark with about a 5-yard run. Reading has gotten a little bit away from running the ball the last couple of series, Cliff. Now they've shifted back into the wishbone, and we may see them just try to pound it right at Melrose again.
I think you're going to see them attempting right now to reestablish the ground game. They want to put a score on the board before the half.
And we're coming very close to the 2-minute warning. Off the right side, Crispo, another Reading first down. Melrose has not shown they can stop that yet. There's no reason, it's an old cliche, don't fix it if it ain't broke. And keep going to the well, and the Rockets have. And Paul Crispo with about a 7-yard gain. And it's 1st and 10 for the Rockets at the Red Raider 34-yard line. And there is the 2-minute warning. Well, Cliff, a little bit of difference here today, weather-wise, from last week, as it was terrific weather conditions last week.
Well, it was cold and wet, John. Today it's only cold.
It is. It's gotten a little overcast, too, actually, about the time the game started.
That's normal.
Channel 3 sports weather. It's cold and overcast. Straight up the middle, that's Scott Allen. That play worked for them earlier, that quick hitter straight up the middle, and Scott almost broke it the last time. That time they had it sniffed out, and they gained about 2 yards.
That time I think they ran the ball to the left side of the center. The first time they ran it was to the right side of the center. And oftentimes what will happen is with Reading having the ball on the hash mark to this side of the field, they may well have their linebacker or their nose man offset to the wide side of the field. If that was the case that time, then that means the fullback would have been running right into his chin.
Reading has called time with 1:43 left to go in the first half, and the Rockets with a 14-0 lead. Reading has had things go pretty much their way. If they're able to pop another one in here, Cliff, this Melrose offense has had a hard time getting anything going, not only in this game, but all season long. They've got a good quarterback. Number 9, Rich Green, looks like he has a terrific arm. He really can unload.
Melrose, this year, Coach McPherson is using a lot of underclassmen. There is no doubt at all that Melrose is a team of the future. They've done pretty well considering this year. They've done a pretty good job.
And they played Woburn to a 0-0 tie last week, which speaks for itself.
You never take that away from them.
2nd and 8. Straight up the middle, that's Scott Allen, and he lunges forward, and he gained about 3 or 4 yards. The clock continues to run.
After a gain of about 4 yards.
And Reading has called another timeout. Dave Johnson, who has not racked up the numbers, Cliff, that everybody expected out of him this year. I think the way the fortunes of the team have gone this year has a lot to do with it. They were not able to run the ball early. They had to rely on the pass. And when you have to do that, you're not going to be able to pass that successfully. Since then, things have opened up a little bit more with the run, and I think that's going to help in the last few games here. It has helped David a little bit. Last week, miserable weather conditions, it was hard to pass the ball anyway. When he's had to pass today, he's been pretty much right on the money.
He's done a good job. The team overall has now a good mix of running and passing plays. We've said so many times that the trick is to throw the ball when you want to throw it and not when you have to throw it.
3rd down and 4. And the give off the right side.
Looked like John Paglia that time.
And he was hit right at the line of scrimmage.
Got another timeout charged to Reading. I think that will leave them with 2 timeouts if I read the lips of the official a little early when he gave the 2-minute warning.
We have 1:21 left to go in the first half. And it will be 4th down and 4 for the Rockets.
Well, in this situation, they're certainly going to play for the first down. They're not going to, I wouldn't think they're going to go for all the marbles. You want to maintain the ball, maintain possession, keep your momentum. It seems to me as though the shorter passes to people out of the backfield have been open. We saw that delay pattern to Griezmann earlier in the game. That was quite successful for substantially longer than the 4 to 5 or 6 yards that they need right now. So I think that Reading has got a variety of weapons in the arsenal that they could elect to use. Be interesting what defense Melrose goes with. Reading's been so successful on the ground. Will they attempt to defend the run, assuming that that's what they're going to do, or will they have to defend both, perhaps then opening up an advantage for Reading?
And let's see what the Rockets come up with here. 4th and 4. Johnson dropping straight back, throwing it deep in the end zone, and McFadden dives and just misses it. And they went for it all there, Cliff. A little bit of a surprise. Carl appeared as if he may have been open a couple of yards behind that last Melrose defender, but Johnson led him just a bit too much. Good pass by Dave. Nice tight spiral. Just led Carl a bit too much, and it will be Melrose ball. It's turned over to the Red Raiders on downs. That's the second time the Rockets have been stopped.
So they take over about the 27-yard line, I guess, John.
And it is 1st and 10 for Melrose. Cerrito and Pierce split out to the right. Green rolling that way, looking that way, the pass, and it is complete to Pierce. I'm very impressed with the steam that Rich Green can get on his passes. He really drills it in there.
Melrose is going to the 2-minute offense, calling plays at the line rather than going back to the huddle and wasting time. Shows a lot of poise for a sophomore quarterback.
1st and 10 for Melrose. They're at their own 40-yard line. Green dropping straight back, looking to the left. The pass is incomplete. In and out of the hands of Christopher Pierce, number 7.
Pierce looked like he had that ball tucked away, then somehow another, in bringing the ball down and protecting it, he dropped it. He did the hard part, catching it. Then he dropped it after he had possession.
It will be 2nd and 10. 59 seconds left to go in the first half, with Reading up here 14-0. Cerrito splits out wide to the left. Pierce wide right. Now Cerrito in motion. Green dropping back, looking deep up the right side, looking for Pierce, and it is in and out of the hands of Carl McFadden. That time, Green lofted it up there. I'm not sure if that got caught in the wind or what. Just kind of floated, though, and McFadden floated over with it and almost pulled it in.
Mark Schwam was step for step with Pierce in the coverage, and playing center field, if we can use that terminology, playing center field was Carl McFadden, was able to play the quarterback's eyes as soon as the ball's gone from the quarterback's hand, and he plays the ball and almost had an interception.
And it will be 3rd and 10 with 51 seconds left to go in the first half, and Melrose has called timeout, I believe. And this is starting to
Timeout, Melrose.
appear like a pro game. With the final 2 minutes taking more than closer to 2 hours.
It doesn't get any darker up here, John.
Well, I mentioned earlier that it has darkened up a bit. It got overcast, and it came upon us quite suddenly, just about as the game was getting underway. And it is not getting any lighter as we go along here.
Well, if this field had lights, John, it would be so much easier. We wouldn't have that problem to concern ourselves with.
But it doesn't. So we'll make do with what we have here. The field looks pretty good, except for about a 20-yard gap right in the middle. But the outer edges and the rest of the field looks pretty good considering what it went through last week.
And it did go through a lot. I think it was a good move at the end of the game. We recall seeing the players replacing divots. That was probably a very good move on Reading's part.
It is 3rd and 10. Green rolling out, holding on to it, and he dives forward. He'll be about 5 yards shy of the first down. He saw number 63, Jeff Durandi, heading for him. And Durandi, it appeared as if his eyes lit up. He saw the quarterback heading his way. And Green ducked down, and Durandi just missed, laying a terrific hit on him.
Well, Reading has just called a quick timeout. They want to get the ball back one more time.
They know they can move on this Melrose defense. They have done it. They've had the ball 4 times, scored twice, and 2 other times got very close to putting some points on the board. One time a penalty stopped them, the other time they just were stopped at about the Melrose 20-yard line.
I would suspect that Reading is probably going to have some sort of a block on here defensively, attempt to block the punt. And in those situations, certainly the one thing we want to concern ourselves with is don't rough the punter. Let the punter kick the ball. Be sure he kicks it. Be sure it's not a fake, but don't rough him. Don't run into him. Now, Reading is going to have to move the ball down the field in this series, John, without the benefit of any timeouts left. We should keep that in mind.
Green is doing the punting. Schwamm drops back with McFadden. It is a punt, and it's Zingarello with it, and he is taken down. A good defensive play.
Nando Zucchi and Mike Sewell.
Number 32, Nando Zucchi. Number 22 is Mike Sewell. Zingarello, the blocking back, and he takes the snap and looking for that first down marker, and I think he lost about 2 yards. Reading was not fooled at all by that. And Reading has good field position with 37 seconds left, plenty of time. They're going to have to do it without, I believe they're out of timeouts though. Work the sidelines here, or go deep over the middle.
Or you can always throw the ball away if you have to. Nothing wrong with that.
McFadden wide right. Johnson looking that way. Throws, and it is taken by Carl, and he is out of bounds.
To the sideline, just like you thought, John.
And that, I believe, is going to be enough for a Reading first down.
That ball was right on the money. That was a pretty long throw, longer than it appears from the sidelines. But just the way the angle of the pass route is, it makes it a very, very long throw. Good throw, good catch.
And it was enough for a Reading first down. It only took 7 seconds. Lone setback is Schwamm. Allen in motion, right to left. Johnson looking to the left for Allen, and it is out of Scott's reach.
Threw the ball before the back made his break, and consequently led him just a little bit too much. A little bit higher, a little bit more loft from the ball, and he might have been able to run under it. Stops the clock. Nothing wrong with that.
26 seconds left. 2nd down and 10 for the Rockets.
Ronnie Warren is in, and Dave Diamond is out. As Reading continues to send the plays in from the bench.
Now Paglia is the lone setback. Allen in motion. Crispo the slot back. Johnson looking over the middle, complete to McFadden. And Carl, running the wrong way, is taken down. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Carl caught it in amongst some traffic over the middle. He was trying to break it wide. And that pass is complete for about a 5-yard loss. And the clock is running. And that, I believe, is the end of the first half. And that was not the way that was supposed to go, I don't think. But That's okay because the Rockets have played a terrific first half here, Cliff. They're up 14-0.
Well, Rockets came out of the gate. Rockets really came out of the gate, came out real strong. We're back now to start the second half. Cliff Allen with John Upton. Reading is huddling up to call their kickoff play. Timmy Griezmann will do the honors for Reading. And they lead 14-0 as we start the second half.
And back to receive for Melrose. Number 7, Christopher Pierce in the middle. Number 37 is Sabid Shaharom. And number 40 is Brian Crovo. The kick bouncing to Pierce, takes it on a hop at about his own 20-yard line, trying to go wide to the right. He is taken down by Mike Sewell and Steve Graham.
Returns a ready kick to his own 25-yard line.
Good kickoff recovery on their coverage to stop Pierce, but there was a substantial gain made on that return. Special teams have done a fairly good job for the Rockets most of the year.
Pierce brought it out to about his own 30-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Red Raiders of Melrose. Out of the eye. Green to give straight up the middle. And number 33, Vinny Zingarello, he is taken down immediately. Phil Dillon was right there.
Joe Venuti in there, and also in there to finish off the play was middle linebacker, number 63, Jeff Durandi. Melrose is trying to reestablish their ground game, John, because in order for their passing game to be effective, they have to have some degree of success with the running game, because their passing game is predicated on the running fake.
2nd down and 9. Green dropping back, looking, passes, and it is out of the reach of number 81, Derek Magicomo.
Mike Sewell on the coverage over there in the flat on the far side of the field. As we were saying, the play-action pass and play-action fake is so important to the success of the Melrose Red Raider passing game. And that time, that's exactly what they did, was they made a fake to the setback and then threw to the outside receiver, who was covered pretty well by Michael Sewell.
And it will be 3rd and 9 from the Melrose 30-yard line. Green pitches it around the left side. That's James Olson with it, trying to go wide. And he is taken down on that far sideline. Hard to see. It may have been Jeff Durandi over there.
Mike Sewell also over there did a nice job of containing the play, not letting the ball carrier get to the outside and pick up more yardage. Rockets are doing a good job of covering across the field, John. They're not giving up a lot of long plays. There were a couple in the first half, but it seems as though they've tightened up the defensive responsibility.
And it is Green taking the high snap, and he gets it away, and that's a good kick. Schwalm calls for the fair catch, and he cradles it at about his own 34-yard line. That's where the Rockets will take over. 1st and 10 from their own 34-yard line with about 9 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter, and the Rockets have a 14-0 lead. That was a big defensive series for Reading. They dominated the first half, moved up and down the field at will. Only got 2 touchdowns out of it, though. Got close 2 other times and kind of stopped themselves both times. To give up a quick touchdown here in the second half could have been bad news for the Rockets. But they have the football to give off the left side to Paul Crispo, and he is taken down after about a 4-yard gain. They are getting 3 or 4 yards a shot easily, almost every play. And a couple of times they've even broke it for a little bit more. Give Crispo 4 on that carry. Go ahead, Cliff.
It'll be interesting to see what type of defensive adjustments Melrose may be attempting. Whatever they might have picked up in the first half and try to adjust to for the second half.
It is 2nd down and 6 for the Rockets at their own 37-yard line. Off the left side, that's Crispo once again. Breaks through on his feet and spinning down, and he is taken down by the last man. Once again, it was Sal Cerrito making the touchdown-saving tackle. And that was about a 17-yard run for Crispo.
You know, John, just very quickly, I want to mention that I see Coach Nyan's wife sitting down here in front of us with little baby David watching the football game.
Paul Crispo hurdles over the line of scrimmage, still on his feet and just taken down. And once again, that was number 40, Brian Crovo. If he did not hang on to Crispo's ankle, Paul would have spun out of there, and he was going all the way.
That whistle didn't blow. That seemed to me to be a little bit slow, perhaps, in that whistle being blown to stop the play. And what happens is the ball players just kind of anticipate. Now, there was a stack-up. Crispo seemed to me, at least, not to be going anyplace. And I think that there may have been a relaxation generally on the part of the defenders that time, and it almost cost them a even longer game than what they gave up.
That was about a 5-yard gain for Crispo and the Rockets.
Glenn Kelly, number 89 for Melrose, that I noticed in the first half, is playing with some sort of a cast, foam-covered cast on one of his hands. So apparently he had some sort of an injury earlier this year. He was just shaken up, walked off the field under his own power, and we suspect we'll see him later on.
It is 2nd and 5. From the Melrose 40-yard line. On the counter play, it is Schwam coming back to the right side, and he is taken down and thrown to the ground. And a little bit of extra activity there that was possibly unnecessary. Melrose may be getting defensively a little bit frustrated. They have not really stopped the Rockets so far on any drive at all today, Cliff. They have not stopped the Rockets. One time a clipping penalty pushed them out of range, and another time they were stopped on downs at around the 20-25-yard line. They have moved the ball up and down the field.
That was an incomplete pass in the end zone, by the way, John. That time it was stopped.
Crispo off that left side once again, and he is driving forward. He is very close to a first down. It will depend on the spot. He needed 3 yards. And let's see where they'll mark it.
Stopped after a gain of about 3 yards. Short of a first down.
And it will be 4th.
Half a yard, Reading.
And about half a yard to go for Reading.
About a half a yard to go for a first down.
And Reading's going to go for it. Dave Johnson, the Rockets quarterback. Straight up the middle, that's Scott Allen, has the first down and then some.
Scott Allen, a ball carrier.
Well,
Good haul there for Scott Allen. Cliff, go ahead.
They've been running the ball off tackles very successfully. And it was a matter of time when they were going to go to something else, and the defense had to honor the off-tackle play, consequently guarding against the halfbacks carrying the ball, opened up a little bit of a gap for the fullback to gain the yardage. A little bit more than what he actually needed for the first down.
It is 1st and 10 for Reading. Johnson looking over the middle, lofting it up there, McFadden, and it is just broken up. Cerrito back there, number 6, once again, is Sal Cerrito. And that's what we talked about earlier, though, the running game opening up some things for the offense. A little play action inside on 1st and 10. You got to figure Reading's going to keep trying to ram it down your throat. They didn't on that play. Cerrito, who has played a terrific game defensively for the Red Raiders today, back there, single coverage, and knocked the pass down. The pitch wide right. That's Paul Crispo trying to go wide, and he is still on his feet going down the sideline. Paul Crispo puts his head down and drives forward, and it will depend on where they spot him. It looks like at about the 8-yard line.
Seemed like number 50, Robert Derriere.
You sure that's his name, Cliff?
Well, I'm not going to try it again, but I think Bob made a great play to save a touchdown that time. See, John, that's why I let you do the hard names, and I just do the Reading guys, because I know their pronunciations. 5:40 on the clock. Reading's ahead, 14-0 on a drive.
And it is 1st and goal from the 7. Straight up the middle, Scott Allen, and he is in for the touchdown. Scott Allen, right up the gut. A 7-yard touchdown run.
Well,
and Allen gives Reading a 20-0 lead.
Well, we were saying before, what happens now is that Reading has been running off tackle and ran a couple of jets to the outside, which spreads their defense out. Now it opens up a natural alley over the guards, and the fullback is going to have 2 or 3 yards of crack. So the offense did a good job opening up the Melrose defense, gave them a play that hadn't been there regularly. It was a good offensive call. Good series.
Scott Allen with a 7-yard touchdown run. Now the kick by Griezmer is good.
Wow.
Tim Griezmer, 3 for 3. And he gives Reading a 21-0 lead. At this point, Cliff, you almost have to think this one's in the bag, but you can't, because there's still 5.5 minutes left. You could say it is when you look at how many points that Melrose has scored this year. They've only scored 66 in 8 games. To ask them to score whatever they're going to need in this one, I would say they're even going to need more than 21 the way the Reading offense is playing right now. It's a tall order for this Melrose team. What Reading has to do is keep up that intensity defensively that they've had and just keep playing tough. Now, a little different situation than we've seen in some of the other games, Cliff, that we've covered so far this year. Reading has the lead. And that is something that now they know that Melrose has to throw the football. They can sit back and now turn the tables a little bit on somebody, as what some teams did to them earlier this year.
I would think at this point in the game, John, the Reading defense is going to be turned loose. At least the defensive front is going to be turned loose. They're going to be out there with their ears pinned back going for the quarterback. There's no doubt about it.
Griezmer kicking off, low kick, bouncing down and taken and bobbled for a moment, and now he goes down to one knee, and it will be down.
That's a Crovo on the return, number 40. Seemed to be a little bit of indecision. I don't think he and Pierce were clear as to who was going to take that ball that time. A little bit of indecision down there that caused some problems.
Kind of looking at each other for a moment. Pierce looked at Crovo.
Hey, you take it, no, I'll take it. You take it. It's one of those things.
And Crovo, his feet went out from under him. He went down in high school, as in college football. Your knee touches the ground, you are down, and that is what happened. And it is spotted at about the Melrose 20-yard line. Green looking to the right. The pass is complete to Pierce, and Chris Pierce is knocked out of bounds after about a 15-yard gain.
I noticed that on that play, behind the play, I see where Mr. McDonald, number 83 for Melrose, was introduced to Mr. Durandi, number 63 for Reading, and seeing that they had a cordial conversation between the two of them.
That was enough for a first down for Melrose. Green looking straight over the middle of the pass, and it is over the head of Sal Cerrito, number 6, who has seen a lot of action both offensively and defensively in this one for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, Sal is a senior. He's 5'11", listed at 170. He's an all-purpose performer for the Red Raiders. As you say, John, on defense, I'd guess that he's probably been in and over half of the plays defensively for the Red Raiders. Strong performer.
It is 2nd and 10. Out of the eye. Green, the give up the middle, that's Grovo, and he is taken down after about a 5-yard gain.
Grovo, ball carrier.
Scott Wade in there at the bottom of the pile on the tackle. We notice a little bit of an increase in the extracurricular activities. It is not particularly safe to stand around the pile without protecting yourself. You just don't want to be standing there as a spectator, because that's when you're going to get hurt.
And it will be 3rd down and 6. Green looking to the left, throwing that way. It's incomplete, fell short. Looking for 81, Derek Magicomo.
Mike Sewell on the coverage for the Rockets. Michael's done a good job coming in. As we look back on the season, we remember that Mike Vetta was injured, went out for the season during the Wakefield game, and Michael Sewell has worked his way up the depth chart, if you will, and with the unfortunate injury, had the opportunity, and I think he's made the best of it. He's done a good job for the Rockets this year.
Schwalm dropping back deep. The punt, it's a good one, driving Schwalm back, takes it on a bounce at about his own 22-yard line, trying to cut it back inside, and he is taken down. Number 32, Tim Keller, was there for Melrose. The Rockets will take over on their own 22-yard line with about 4.5 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter. And they lead 21-0.
You know, we were talking a little earlier about the number of points the Rockets have, and I can only reflect back in the first game of the season where I got to believe that Gloucester felt that 21 points was a lot of points until they lost 25-21.
Off the left side and taken down very quickly was Paul Crispo. He may have lost a yard.
I noticed Timmy Griezmer, number 85, has played a strong game for the Rockets, is limping slightly as he goes back to the huddle. And I guess he's shaking it off, and he's seems to be okay now.
Reading out of the wishbone. Johnson, fake in the middle, throwing deep, looking for Griezmer, and it is out of the hands of Tim Griezmer. The defensive back, number 11, Chad McGuire, went up. The ball kind of hung up in the air, and Griezmer waited for it, and may have been distracted a little bit, may have been tipped by McGuire, and just in and out of the hands of Tim.
From our position here at the in the back row of the stands, we could not see McGuire's left hand, and that would have been the hand that either did or did not touch the football. So we're not sure whether he deflected or not, but certainly he was there for good coverage.
It is 3rd and 10 for Reading at their own 21-yard line. Split backfield now, Allen and Paglia. McFadden split wide left. Schwam to the right. Quick look in past McFadden. He has it, and he has enough for a Reading first down. That is a good play for the Rockets. Good offensive play. Quick look in pass to Carl McFadden on the left side. Takes a couple of steps, cuts inside. He's between the zone, and he pulled it in and got one more yard than he needed. Needed 10, got 11. And it's 1st and 10, and the Rockets retain possession, which right now is the most important thing. You cannot lose the lead if you don't give the other team the football.
Well, I was about ready to comment on how it seemed as though Reading changed their offensive philosophy. They've gotten away from that successful running game for some reason.
Now the pitch to Schwam going wide to the right. Mark puts his head down. He's taken down on a tough hit by Cerrito.
Schwam the ball carrier.
Schwam with no gain and may have lost a couple.
Stopped it for about a 3-yard loss back to the 31.
And Mark did lose 3.
Second down about 13
2nd and 13 at the Reading 31-yard line.
On that play, the blocking scheme is such that there is no fake to the fullback over the middle. He actually is the lead blocker, or one of the lead blockers. And I think Reading is most successful when they can fake the ball to the first back through the hole.
David Johnson. Off the right side, that's John Paglia. He goes up and over, and he gains about 4 yards. Gets it out to the 35-yard line.
Well, with apparent lack of concern for his own body, John hurled himself through the air for a couple of yards on that particular play. Melrose defense has seemed to be able to stop the running game, at least on this series. I think Reading's helped a little bit by getting away from the game originally when they started passing the ball.
3rd down and 9. The give is to Scott Allen off the right side.
Allen's the ball carrier.
And Scott was taken down after about a 6-yard gain. He'll be shy of the first down marker.
Number 74.
It will be 4th and about 3 for Melrose. Number 74, Jim O'Brien, in on the hit. The clock is running, though, Cliff. We're down close to a minute and a half left to go in the 3rd quarter. Reading has tacked 7 more points onto their lead. They're up at 21-0. Christopher Pierce, the lone man back, received the kick at about his own 25-yard line. Tim Griezmer, slow snap, just gets it away. And it's rolling, getting a good Reading bounce. And it will be down at about the Red Raider 28-yard line. Reading caught a break then. As the big rush was on, they were attempting to block that one. Griezmer got the poor snap, fumbled it for a moment as he had to dig it out of the dirt, and then kicked it, and he may have been lucky that he kicked it low. May have got it underneath a couple of those Melrose linemen rushing in.
They couldn't have missed it by more than a foot or 6 inches. That was a very close call.
Green Dropping back, looking, and it's over the head of Chris Pierce.
McFadden there in the coverage.
Pass intended for Pierce goes incomplete. McFadden sitting on the play. It'll be second down and 10.
Melrose has had relatively little success with the passing game. I mean, yeah, they have completed some, but generally speaking, the second half when they've had to do it, they haven't been successful.
It is second and 10. Melrose at their own 27. Green rolling out, looking over the middle. The pass is complete to Cerrito, trying to spin away, and he has enough for a Melrose first down at about his own 46-yard line.
It's a good game for the Red Raiders, for Melrose, but not passes that are in the game-breaking variety, however, which is good for Reading. If they can keep the pass receivers in front of the defense, that's okay.
The clock ticking, 50 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Green dropping straight back over the middle. Cerrito there again, pulls it in, taken down by Sewell, but not before Cerrito had pulled that one in for 11 yards and another Melrose first down.
Well, they're biting off 12-yard chunks here, and as quickly as I had said they weren't very successful with the passing game, they've certainly proved me to be incorrect in my observation. So the Red Raiders, 21-0 is a substantial lead, but it is not insurmountable.
Melrose out of the eye. Pierce split out wide to the right. The pitch. And in the backfield, and
Jimmy
a great
Griesmer.
defensive play.
Fumble on the play, but I think the whistle might have blown.
And it had. James Olsen was pulled down by Griesmer, shooting in from his outside linebacker position. And Olsen did not stand a chance that time.
Defensive ends were standing up, and the linebackers were up on the line. And it was a matter of time. The sophomore quarterback, I don't know if he had an audible that he could have gone to, but that particular play was not going to work on that defensive scheme. I think that's the end of the quarter.
And it was a good quarter of play for the Rockets. They have continued what they started in the first half. They've added 7 more points to their lead, a 7-yard touchdown run by Scott Allen. Tim Griesmer tacking on the extra point. The Rockets up here 21-0. Defensively, Cliff not allowing Melrose to get the running game going. What we talked about earlier about Reading not being able to run earlier in the season. Melrose not able to run here. They've completed a couple of passes in this series of downs, but overall, Reading defensively has done a tremendous job.
You know, just another thought, John, comparing the running philosophies of the two teams. Reading has proven that in order to be successful overall, they have to have a successful running game. I think Melrose's philosophy is somewhat different. That is to say, they just want to give the appearance of running the ball. In order to free some linebackers and freeze the defensive secondary, that allows those receivers to come out of the backfield or from their wideout positions to bite off those 12 and 13-yard chunks. Just a little bit of a difference there. Melrose was successful running the ball earlier. They haven't been as successful now, but that's okay. As long as they continue making those fakes and freezing those defenders, they're going to pick up those 10 and 12-yard passes.
I think this Melrose team is going to be a very good football team in the next couple of years.
A lot of underclassmen in this team, John, and they are a team that will be heard from in the future.
Green, the quarterback. Cerrito in motion on the right. Dropping back to pass, the big rush, and the pass is batted around by 33, Vinny Zingarello. Big rush was on that time from the outside, and Green just got it away.
Joe Venuti, number 51, was one of the Rockets that was in there right in Green's face as he threw the ball, and he just did get that pass away.
Joe played a terrific game last week, I thought, against Burlington. Couple of sacks.
Third and 17. It seems it's a situation that they've been in and facing all day long, is that third and long situation.
Green dropping straight back, looking over the middle, and it is incomplete. As Cerrito got his hands on that one, McFadden came across from the other side and hit him just as it nestled into the arms of Sal Cerrito, and that caused the ball to pop loose. And it will be 4th down and 17 for Melrose.
We saw that time the Reading defenders, the defensive backs and the linebackers dropping off considerably farther from the line of scrimmage than they had been earlier in the game, and that just makes it that much more difficult to complete passes of that length.
And it is 4th down and 17. Melrose will go for it. Green lofting it long over the middle. Cerrito and knocked away. Good defensive play. I believe it was Mike Sewell. And he stuck a hand in there. Cerrito looked like he was open for a moment. Mike stuck in the hand, just broke up the play from the back. Looked like he had been beaten, but he came back.
It's kind of interesting. Michael's left-handed, so to you and I, being right-handed, maybe it looked like he was out of position, but he had that strong, natural strong grip with that left hand, came up around, knocked that ball out. Probably not the optimum coverage, but he did the job.
Reading takes over on downs from their own 48-yard line. The pitch, left, that's Paul Crispo trying to go wide, cuts it back inside, and he's not going to go anywhere. Still fighting. And I believe he's going to lose 3.
Melrose seems to me anyway to be overprotecting against that wide run, the sweep, and I think that's going to do nothing more than just make it a very likable situation arising here where Reading is going to give the ball to the fullback or go back to the dive plays.
Reading with the wishbone formation once again, and we've got a dead ball foul. Somebody on the left side.
Yeah,
moved a bit too soon.
One of the other players for Reading, a tackle or an end, I think, did move before the ball was snapped. No hesitancy at all on the part of the officials. It was an obvious call, blew the whistle.
We've seen a pretty penalty-free game so far in this one. We had one called earlier on Reading's first touchdown drive, offsides against Melrose. Reading was called for a clip that really stopped one of their drives earlier, and that may be only the 3rd call we've seen so far in this one. Pretty well-played football game. That pushes the Rockets 5 yards farther back, 2nd down and 18 yards to go. Straight up the middle. That may have been John Paglia. And it was John. And he gained about 6 yards. And it is going to be 3rd down and 12.
Again, there's one of those straight-ahead dive plays that we were talking about. Melrose is now protecting against that outside play, and that's going to open up natural holes over the guards and the tackles. Whether it's the fullback or halfback carrying the straight-ahead quick openers, those are the plays that are going to be successful now.
Carl McFadden is split out wide to the right now. Allen in motion. Lone set back Paglia. The give on the draw play to John, and he is taken down in the backfield. A loss of about 2 yards. And Tim Griezmann will be called upon to punt the ball again. Only the 2nd time he has had to punt here this afternoon. His last one was almost blocked. It will be Chris Pierce, number 7, dropping back to receive the kick. And Tim gets off a good boot, taken by Pierce at his own 28-yard line. Trying to cut straight up the middle. Had some room. Chris Pierce has one man to beat. And he is taken down a fine open field tackle by Griezmann. He worked him towards the sideline. I'm not sure what was happening out in the middle of the field. A couple of the Reading players were moving away from the football. They may have thought the return was going to the other side. I'm not sure. Seemed like a lot of red shirts were heading in the wrong direction that time. Pierce came to the left. He broke through right up the middle. Tim Griezmann was the last man there. If he got by Tim, he was going all the way. I thought Tim did a nice job, forced him to go towards the sideline and cut off his ankle. Now Green dropping back, looking to the right. The pass is complete to Cerrito, and he goes down at about the Reading 19-yard line.
About 7 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. It continues to run. 21-0 in favor of the Reading Rockets. That 3rd touchdown is becoming ever more important as the game goes along because Melrose has now shown that they may well be on the verge of putting one in the end zone.
Cerrito splits out wide to the left. Out of the eye, the give to James Olson straight up the middle. That was a 2nd down and 2 play for Melrose, as that last pass to Cerrito was good for 8 yards. He needed 2, and he's very close to getting it, and that is enough for a Red Raider 1st down. Now the quick pass to Cerrito is complete for about 4 or 5 on the right side. Melrose going without a huddle here.
Pass by Green down to the 15, a gain of 4, 2nd down and 6.
Green dropping straight back, looking to the left. It is complete. Mike Sewell fell down on that side.
Pass again is complete down
It was
to
number
about
27,
10.
Brian Bemis.
The 3rd down and about 2 yards to go.
Appears as
for
though
a
the Melrose coaching staff has been watching the Cincinnati Bengals play, trying to go with that no huddle offense.
Now Green to give to Olson off the right side, and he is down
Olsen is the ball
close.
carrier. Hit by Steve Graham, a gain of about 5 yards on the play.
The
Stephen-
ball is at the Reading 4-yard line, it appears.
Stephen Graham, number 31,
Go,
on the
Melrose
tackle for the Rockets.
from the Reading 6.
The ball is spotted at the 6-yard line. Melrose has done a good job. You have to like what they're trying here. They're not just the standard take 30 seconds between plays and waste the time you have left here. Green off the left side. Number 40, Brian Crovo, and he drove his way down to about the 2-yard line.
Seemed as though the Rockets had the outside linebackers blitzing that time. They may well have expected there was going to be some sort of a passing play where the Melrose Red Raiders have basically got here as a result of passing.
The ball at the 3. Straight up the middle, and very close. The whistle blows, no signal yet. Zingarello was stopped at about the Reading 1-yard line. Peter L. in on that hit. Number 71 for the Rockets. It's 3rd and goal with the clock moving. 4.5 minutes left to go in the football game, and the Rockets up 21-0. Melrose on the doorstep. And the Red Raiders call time. That was something they didn't want to do. Don't want to use one of your timeouts. You're down by 3 touchdowns. You have to score here, so I suppose they have to be sure that they do the right thing in this situation. But they were going without a huddle earlier. They don't want to have to waste a timeout right now.
Yeah, it seemed as though they were trying to get Reading confused. In the pro game, it's perhaps a little bit more beneficial to go without a huddle because in the pro game you have so many more specialists, people who come in predominantly for 3rd and long and 2nd and short and so forth. The high school level, you're pretty much going with the same personnel. The guys that have been in there for the 1st down, they're going to be there for the 4th down probably. And Melrose did have the momentum moved in their direction, and then they got down here close. They were unsuccessful on a running play, and then they did call that timeout, and it kind of offset everything else that they had tried to accomplish by going without a huddle. But you're right, they need the touchdown. They got to get the first one before they can get the second one, so they want to be sure.
It is 3rd and goal for the Red Raiders at the Reading 1-yard line. Off the left side, Zingarello, touchdown Melrose.
Zingarello goes in
Vin
for 1
Zingarello
yard.
scores for Melrose. And the Red Raiders are on the board. Reading leads here 21-6. And Melrose will go for the 2-point conversion. Rich Green rolling out to his right, looking that way, the pass, and it is knocked down.
Carl McFadden made a good recovery, sprinting to the receiver who looked to be open, made a lunge, stuck his hand in there, knocked the ball down. Good job.
All right, so it is Zingarello scoring from the 1-yard line to put Melrose on the board. Reading leads here at 21-6 with 4 minutes and 19 seconds left to go in the game.
Well, I don't know. At this point with 4:19 left, I guess if I'm Melrose, I've got a choice to make. Do I want to give Reading the ball back, even though we're still down by a couple of touchdowns? I would surmise that with 4:19 left on the clock that Melrose is going to kick an onside kick and try to get that ball back and score again fast.
I certainly would if I was them. They have done a better job defensively here in the second half against the Rocket offense. But then again, the Rockets have gotten a little bit away, I think, from what they did in the first half. They have not come out here and really gone with the wishbone as they did in the first half. That's when they really moved the ball with ease. I would try an onside kick.
Well, we look at the Reading alignment here to receive this, and we note that they've got their specialty players in there, a lot of defensive backs and offensive backs and ends up close to the restraining line.
And there will be an onside kick attempted here. It will be to the right side. And off the Reading player, it's loose, and I believe Melrose has got the football. They do. Melrose recovers. I'm not sure who it was down there. It was low. It was drilled right at one of the Rocket front liners.
On the onside kick attempt, the ball is
Deflected off of one of those up men for the Rockets. Looked like it bounced off his knee or hit hard off some part of his body and squirted just out of arm's reach.
That's a tough play to handle. The ball was kicked very hard, and the kicker is going to aim it low at your body. He doesn't want to hit you in the hands because you'll catch it.
Melrose has the ball. They're at midfield. Green looking over the middle of the pass, and it is broken up.
A lot of bodies flying all over the place. Good defensive coverage. Mark Schwam seemed to be right in the middle there with the pass receiver.
The Reading band playing over here to our left. Hope you enjoyed the halftime show. Dave Button leading his troops through another fine halftime performance.
Busy sports weekend here in Reading, huh? We had there was a soccer game in another part of town today, one of the MIAA state games.
Rich Green dropping back, looking to the left, the pass, and it is deflected and falls incomplete. Grovo was there just off his fingertips.
Grovo had the ball deflect off his hands. Looked like he might have beaten Jeff Durante a little bit, but Durante had enough heads-up play that he dove and pushed the receiver down so that after the ball deflected off his hands, the receiver actually fell down. So even if he had caught the ball, we wouldn't have gained any more yardage.
It is 3rd down and 10 with 4 minutes left to go in the game. Pierce split wide to the right. Cerrito split wide left. Green, the give straight up the middle. That's James Olson. Has a lot of room into the backfield. Olson on the go, and he is just dragged down from behind by Tim Griesmer. A touchdown saving tackle by Tim Griesmer. That's a point right there where Melrose crossed up the Rocket defense. 3rd down and 10. You figure they're going to throw the football. He drops back, and on the delay, they hand it off to James Olson. Had lots of room.
3:53 left on the clock, John. Plenty of time. 1st and 10 now for the Red Raiders.
The ball is at the Reading 15-yard line. Green looking to the right, throwing. It is almost intercepted
Looked
and
like
dropped.
McFadden perhaps over there in coverage.
Carl with the diving attempt. Tried to cradle it.
Got a flag on the play, and I think Reading might be called for a late hit or a high hit on the quarterback after he released the ball.
incomplete. There is a flag on the play.
Well, Cliff, what about 3 minutes ago looked like a Reading romp, right now is a Melrose touchdown away from being a very close football game.
It is roughing the passer.
Half the distance goal down to the
It's a shame to make a great defensive play and then to give it right back to him again. Not only do you give him yardage, but you give him a first down as well on the penalty. 3:40 left on the clock. 21-6 is the score.
Twin wideouts to the right side, Pierce and Cerrito. They give straight up the middle, and he's going to go in for the touchdown. Number 33 is Vinny Zingarello. And Melrose has cut it to 21-12. Zingarello, a 7-yard touchdown run. Melrose blew a big hole out that time, Cliff. Lots of room for Zingarello.
Well, Melrose needs the 2 points now to get back on track, to give themselves the opportunity, assuming they were to score a third time. Then they could go for 2 to win it or kick to tie it. So they've got to go for the 2 here, and they obviously are.
They get the 2 points here. This is going to come down to the wire. Grover around the left side, and he is taken down. Big defensive play for Reading.
Tim Griesmer there.
Was there.
Stephen Graham there, and also to help finish off the play was Dillon.
That was a big play. That was the play that would have gotten Melrose back into this football game. Now they need 2 scores. They need to get the ball back 2 more times here to conceivably win the game. Whereas if they had got the 2-point conversion, one more possession could have done the trick for them.
Well, what you need now is a touchdown and a field goal, John. Still within the realm of possibility with 3:36 left on the clock.
Well, what we've seen the Red Raiders come up with in the last few minutes, they obviously have the capability. And with Rich Green at quarterback, I would not put anything past this team because he looks like a very fine talent.
If I'm not mistaken, I recall the report of the Woburn-Melrose game, and I know Melrose attempted at least 1 field goal in that game. I'm not, my recollection is it may have been deflected or blocked, but the fact is they have that capability. It's still an interesting ball game, to say the least, John.
Reading up 21-12. Schwalm and Sewell back deep. And they're going to try another onside kick, drill it to the right side, and it rolls out of play. Fortunately for Reading, it got by the man on that far left side.
Now there's a choice to be used here. Reading, the offense has a choice. They can either take the 5 yards or take the ball where it went out of bounds. They've decided to take it where it went out of bounds. They're in very, very good field position.
That is the smart thing to do. You don't want to mess around with another onside kick. You got the football. No matter where it went out of bounds, take it.
Well, so many times we see a long kickoff typically earlier in a ball game, and it's automatic. The flag goes up and people re-kick, and sometimes the fans lose sight of the fact there is an option there. You do have that opportunity.
Reading has got the football. They are at their own 47-yard line, and I'm sure we're going to see Melrose start using some of those timeouts here. 3 minutes and 36 seconds left to go in the game. They give up the middle. That is Crispo, and he is taken down, and Melrose calls an immediate timeout. The first half, at the end of the first half, Cliff, we got a little bit bogged down with a lot of timeouts being called. And it may happen again here, sorry.
I think the Reading offense got away from his game plan a little bit. May have lost the momentum. Running game is a funny game. You know, people get loose and they kind of get your momentum going, the flow, and it's all of a sudden everybody's off the ball like one unit. And then you get away from it a little bit, and it kind of disrupts things. And at this point now, with 3:29 left on the clock and a lead of 21-12, the Rockets are going to have to try to reestablish that, and I'm sure that's what we saw signified with his handoff to Crispo. But the Melrose defense has played much stronger in the second half, so the Rockets are going to have their hands full.
And Gary Nyan talking things over with his team. Bruce McPherson, the Melrose head coach, on the other side of the field. Bruce McPherson heavily involved with the chemical dependency prevention program in the Middlesex League.
As is Coach Jack White, athletic director here in Reading.
Off the left side, that's Paul Crispo. Stumbles his way forward for about 3 yards. It will be third down, and we'll call it about 7 yards to go for the Rockets. And Melrose has called another timeout.
About 3 yards in play. It'll be third down.
Crispo got off to a terrific start yardage-wise at the beginning of this game. The whole Reading running game has gotten bogged down a little bit here in the second half.
Well, they're going to face 3rd and 6, John, and this is a very, very key down. This is why Melrose has been taking those timeouts. Now it's 3rd and 6. What are the Rockets going to do? Certainly, if the Rockets had come down the field and gained 8 yards the first time, Melrose may well have taken a timeout, but I think the symbolism here with a 3rd and 6 is a lot different than what it could have been had Reading been successful running the ball the first couple of downs and perhaps getting a first down.
It is 3rd down and 6. The ball is at the Melrose 47. Johnson rolling out to the right, tucking it under his arm, looking for that sideline, and he is drilled out of play. A good defensive play by Sal Cerrato once again. That kid must have 45 tackles out here today because he has been in on almost every single play. Johnson, I'm not sure if that was the design play. The flow was going to the left, he rolls to the right. I don't know if he just decided I'm going to hold on to this one and maybe try to fool some people, or if that was the play. Johnson very rarely runs with football.
Trying to think how many times we may have seen that type of a play earlier in the year, and I can't remember more than 2 or 3, and I don't know that any of those were by design.
Reading forced to kick it away. Pierce is back to take it. The rush is on, and Griezmer shanks it to the left, but he gets a good roll, and it will roll out at about the Red Raider 23-yard line. Kept it away from Pierce, which is probably a good move, as that kid can really fly.
Well, certainly giving Melrose the ball, whether it's their own 22 or 23-yard line, is a lot better than kicking the ball to Pierce and giving him the opportunity of a return, because the special teams from Melrose, they've had some success returning the ball. .309 left on the clock.
Green dropping back, looking, it is complete to Cerrito. He is taken down on a good hit.
Nice stick out there by number 22, Michael Sewell, the junior defensive back. Apparently there was a fumble on the play that must have occurred after the play was whistled dead.
Second and 7, the clock is running, no huddle. Rich Green looking to the right, the pass, and it's out of the reach of Pierce.
Even though the Rocket defensive linemen are not making the sack or making tackles in the backfield, they are putting pressure on the quarterback. And I just noticed that time they're backing the offensive lineman back about 2 or 3 strides. I can't believe that the quarterback is going to find it any easier to try to throw the ball 15 yards or 8 yards downfield without anybody in front of him. But if you put somebody right in front of him, it's going to make it that much more difficult. So I think Reading is still trying to put a surge on there defensively.
3rd down and 7. Green dropping back, looking over the middle, has time, and it's incomplete, looking for Pierce.
Closest man to that ball was the Rockets' middle linebacker who made his defensive drop, Jeff Durandi. He was the closest man to catching that ball, and that was overthrown to him.
2.5 minutes left to go in the game, 2:35, according to the clock. 21-12, the Rockets lead. It is 4th down and 7 for Melrose at their own 24-yard line, and of course they're going to go for it here. No reason to give the football back to the Rockets.
Defensive ends want to be sure that they do not let the quarterback outside. They want to keep him in the pocket.
Christopher and Cerrito are the wideouts, and Green fumbles it in the backfield.
Fumble, Reading will take over there.
And no matter who recovered it, it is going to be Rockets football.
Well, that was the safest prediction I could have made right there, is Reading's going to take over the ball, no matter who got it. Be interesting at this point to see how tough a defense Melrose plays right now this last series, because that has got to be a backbreaker for them to give up the ball like that. They needed to score another touchdown to even have an opportunity to kick a field goal.
Reading has it at the Red Raider 19. They have the lead, 21-12, with 2.5 minutes left to go. Crispo off the left side, gains about 3 yards.
Looks like Melrose is calling another timeout.
They are refusing to go down easily here, Cliff. They've got some fortitude, this squad, and we've mentioned it a couple of times. I really believe this is going to be one of the better football teams in the Middlesex League for the next couple of years anyway. As long as Richard Green is their quarterback, they're going to have a good man at the controls, that's for sure. He throws about as well as I've seen any quarterback we've seen any games we've cablecast this year.
He's listed in the roster as being 6 feet, 175 pounds. And for a sophomore, I understand he's still only 15 years old. That's a pretty good physical specimen for a 15-year-old football player.
And he can throw the football very well.
Does very, very well for himself.
Second down and 7 for the Rockets. Off the right side, Scott Allen. He is taken down.
Scott Allen, the ball carrier.
Number
Ball down to
6,
about
once again, Sal Soretto there.
gain of 2 yards.
I really would like to see how many tackles Cerrito has been in for Melrose. It seems to me as if he has been at the ball every single time the Rockets have run the football.
I saw a preliminary timeout signal by one of the officials. All right, and that's the delay in the signal is they were telling the coach that, hey, coach, that's your last timeout. That's the signal now being given.
2 minutes and 9 seconds left to go in the game. And Melrose out of timeouts. They're down by 9 points.
See, the interesting thing, I'm sorry, John, the interesting thing now is I wonder whether or not the official is going to use this as a 2-minute warning with 2:09 left on the clock. I don't know. It would be a real shame to take a timeout and then have the official use that as a 2-minute warning. Talk about wasting a timeout. But time is of the essence to Melrose, and they really don't have too much of an opportunity to make any other decision. They're down 21-12.
Redding out of the wishbone. The pitch wide right, that's Crispo. Puts his head down, spinning forward. And let's see where they mark it. Looks like it's going to be at about the 10-yard line. Paul runs hard.
Charles McDonald, 83, got his nose in there. He's a junior, 6'1", 200 pounds, defensive end on offense, and a defensive end on defense.
And about 2 yards to go for first
And
down.
Paul Crispo put his head down. We could hear the hit. We're about 30 yards away ourselves here at least. And that was a tough hit. 4th down and 2 for the Rockets. Off the left side, Crispo lunges forward. He's going to be close. I think he's going to be short, though.
Well, I see the offensive players from Melrose coming on the field, and if that's any indication, they feel secure that the defense did the job.
1st and 10 for Melrose at their own 11-yard line as Crispo comes up a yard shy.
We are now getting the 2-minute warning, John. That official is now giving that indication to both benches.
First and 10 for Melrose. The ball at their own 11. Green dropping back, looking, trying to throw deep, and it's loose.
Incomplete pass. The arm was started forward and the whistle was blown. Billy Dillon, 75, looked like he got in and came in behind the quarterback, and as he had his hand back, he hooked his arm so that the arm went forward, but the ball stayed.
That's a real, could go either way, a call like that.
That is a split-second decision that has to be made by the official, and you're right, it could go either way. Because the ball, it's a question, did the ball leave his hand before the arm started to go forward? I don't know. He was right there, and we got to assume that he saw the play.
Pierce split wide left, Cerrito wide right. Green dropping back to pass. The big rush is on.
Screen pass.
And Grovo has it on the left side, and he is taken down.
You want to keep him in bounds. That's about the best thing you can do under the circumstances is keep him in bounds. They don't have any timeouts left. The clock's going to stop if he's made the first down. they'll stop for an instant so they can reset the markers, and then the clock starts up again.
Going without a huddle. Green looking to the right side. It is complete. Cerrito, and he travels out of bounds with it on that far side.
If I had to guess, we haven't been keeping the stats on the passes thrown, but I got to guess that Green's got to be up in the 30, 33, 34 category at this point in the game.
He has thrown the football a tremendous amount here this afternoon. Relatively speaking, for a high school football game, he's thrown the ball a lot.
21-12 the score with 1:38 left on the clock. The Rockets are playing defense, trying to keep Melrose off the board again.
Green dropping back, looking long up the left sideline. Pierce there, and it is incomplete. Chris Pierce went up. Sewell was playing deep coverage, and they both went up. Pierce had the inside position, had his hands on the football. Not able to hang on to it, though.
Michael Sewell is listed in the program at 5'7", 144 pounds. He's doing some things that have going to make the Reading coaches very, very happy. We've seen him stick some guys on running plays. Done a very. There's no so far as a defensive back, he's done a real good job in pass coverage.
Green dropping back, looking to the left, and it is complete to Cerrito.
Cerrito catches the pass and runs out of bounds at the 41, up for a first down.
Once again, pass is completed, and the receiver goes out of bounds. Sal Cerrito out of bounds with the pass reception to stop the clock. A minute and 27 seconds left. And Melrose now has a first down and 10 yards to go once again.
Cerrito in motion. Green dropping back to pass, looking, throwing it deep. Intercepted by Mark Schwalm. Trying to come back straight up the middle, and he goes down. Mark Schwalm with the interception. Green dropped back and just threw that one as far as he could up that right sideline. Fell a little bit short.
Well, Mark was running shoulder for shoulder with he was running shoulder for shoulder with the pass receiver. Did a good job, had inside position. There was no way at all that pass was going to be completed. It was either going to be incomplete long or it was going to be intercepted. And, of course, from Reading's perspective, Mark Schwalm was in the right place at the right time, intercepted the pass. He slipped in the return, but the Rockets do take over, 1st and 10. 1:16 left in the game. 21-12 is the score. Reading is ahead.
They give straight up the middle. The clock will be running here as the Rockets are not going to be calling any timeouts here.
Just run the ball straight ahead and let the clock run.
And I would think with a minute left, we're going to see a couple of more plays here, and that will just about do it.
Well, overall, John, I think that once again we should commend the offensive line, who has done a very, very good job of blocking. Pontone and L at the tackles, Dillon at the guard. We had Ron Warren in there, along with, we'll let this play go.
Off the right side, it looked like Schwalm. Paul Crispo with that carry.
Right. To continue the thought, offensively, offensive lineman Dave DeAmond. We mentioned Paul Pontone. We had Kyle McFadden out there, Timmy Griezmer at the ends, and the selection of the of plays for the most part was superlative today. I think they kept the ball in play. That's what they had to do, and that's what they've been successful with the last 2.5 games. And that's why everything's been turned around. As the clock is running down.
And that is it. A terrific performance by the Reading Rockets out here this afternoon. They defeat Melrose by a score of 21-12. And Cliff, a good job by the Rockets out here today.
Absolutely. Great job by the running backs. A wide selection, a wide variety of running backs used today. They all did a good job, and super, super blocking from the offensive line. The defense played as tough as they had to play today. And Mark Schwalm made that interception late in the game, and that's how she ended, 21-12.
All right, Cliff. That will do it for us here from Birch Meadow. I think we're going to try to get a couple of the Rockets for some post-game interviews. I invite you to stay tuned for that. We'll be right back.